I took my vows before God, promising my life to faith and service, believing I'd found my purpose within convent walls. Then a wounded soldier arrived seeking sanctuary, and everything I thought I knew about devotion, sacrifice, and love was challenged. Sister Maria, they called me, but she saw someone else entirely, someone I'd buried beneath habits and prayers, someone who could choose a different kind of vow. Before I tell you how sacred promises collided with impossible love, let me ask, what city are you watching from? Drop it in the comments below and subscribe to help this channel grow. Your support means everything. My name is Catherine Moore, though within these walls unknown as Sister Maria. I've been with the Sisters of Mercy for 8 years, having taken my vows at 22 after a childhood shaped by loss and searching. The convent in rural Montana offered peace, purpose, structure to a life that had felt chaotic. I taught at the church school, tended the gardens, found meaning in routine and prayer. I believed I'd found where I belonged. Until the day Captain Rachel Torres collapsed at our gates. It was late autumn, the first serious snow already threatening. I was working in the garden when Sister Ann called that someone needed help. At the entrance, a woman in military uniform leaned against the stone wall, blood seeping through makeshift bandages on her side. "Please," she managed. "I need sanctuary." Just for a few days. Mother Superior made the decision quickly. Whatever had happened, whoever this woman was running from, our mission was mercy. We brought her to the infirmary and I was assigned to care for her while she healed. Rachel Torres was career military. I learned gradually as she recovered. Special Forces, recently returned from deployment, on leave when something had gone wrong. She wouldn't elaborate about the injury or why she'd come to us specifically, but the fear in her eyes suggested she was running from something serious. "You don't have to tell me," I assured her one evening while changing her bandages. "You're safe here. That's what matters." "Safe," she repeated, looking at me with dark eyes that had seen too much. "Sister, I haven't felt safe in years. But here with you, I almost believe it's possible." Something in her voice made my hands pause. The way she looked at me, like I was a person rather than just a nun, stirred feelings I thought I'd successfully buried when I took my vows. As Rachel healed over the following weeks, we talked. She told me about joining the military at 18, about deployments to places she couldn't name, about carrying out missions that saved lives but cost pieces of her soul. She talked about the things she'd seen, the choices she'd made, the weight of command. I found myself sharing things I rarely discussed. About my parents dying when I was 12, about bouncing through foster homes, about the emptiness that led me to faith, about taking vows more from fear of the world than love of God, though I hadn't admitted that to myself at the time. "Do you regret it?" she asked one evening. "Taking vows, I mean. Choosing this life." I thought I didn't. It gave me purpose, community, safety. I paused, considering honesty. But lately I've been questioning whether I chose this out of calling or escape. Is there a difference? I think so. Calling is moving towards something. Escape is running from something. I'm not sure which one brought me here. She reached out, taking my hand gently. "Catherine," she said, using my real name rather than my religious one. Sometimes we make choices that are right for who we were, even if they're not right for who we're becoming. The touch of her hand, the use of my real name, the permission to question, all of it shook something loose inside me. I pulled my hand away, suddenly aware we'd crossed a line. I should go. Evening prayers. "Catherine, wait." She caught my hand again. "I'm sorry if I overstepped. But I need you to know something. Being here, talking with you, it's the first time I felt human in years. You see me as a person, not just a soldier. That matters more than you know." I fled to evening prayers, but her words echoed through the liturgy. Did I see her as a person? Yes. Too much of one. I noticed everything about her. The way she moved despite her healing injury. Her rare smile that transformed her serious face. How she'd watch me work in the garden with an expression I couldn't quite name. The sound of her laugh when I'd say something unexpectedly funny. I was noticing her in ways that violated every vow I'd taken. Over the following weeks, as Rachel grew stronger, the tension between us intensified. She'd help me in the garden despite her injury, working alongside me in comfortable silence. We'd discuss books from the convent library, discovering shared tastes. She joined me for evening walks around the grounds, our conversations ranging from philosophy to poetry to the weight of choices we couldn't undo. Mother Superior noticed. "Sister Maria, you seem quite attached to our guest. I'm simply caring for her as our mission requires. Our mission is mercy, not companionship. Perhaps Sister Anne should take over Captain Torres's care." "That won't be necessary. She'd be well enough to leave soon anyway." But neither of us wanted her to leave. Rachel was healed enough to travel, yet she stayed, helping around the convent, making herself useful. And I enabled it, finding reasons why she should remain longer, pretending I didn't know what I was doing. 6 weeks after her arrival, everything came to a head. Rachel received word that whatever she'd been running from had been resolved. She was free to return to active duty or take the medical discharge she'd been considering. "I'm leaving tomorrow," she told me that evening in the garden. Snow was falling softly around us, the world quiet and white. Oh, the single word felt inadequate for the grief flooding through me. "Catherine, I need to tell you something before I go. These weeks here, they've changed me. Not just the healing, but knowing you. You made me feel human again, made me question what I want from the rest of my life. Rachel, please don't. I have to. Because I'm in love with you." She said it simply, directly, like stating a tactical assessment. "I know it's impossible. I know your vows, your faith, your commitment. But I couldn't leave without you knowing that loving you has been the most honest thing I've felt in years." My world tilted. She loved me. This strong, broken, beautiful woman loved me. And God help me, I loved her too. "I can't," I whispered. "Rachel, I made vows." "Sacred promises before God." "I know. I'm not asking you to break them. I'm just telling you the truth before I leave tomorrow and we never see each other again." She stepped closer, snow catching in her dark hair. "But Catherine, can I ask you one question? Do you love God, or did you just need somewhere safe to hide?" The question gutted me because I'd been asking myself the same thing for weeks. "I don't know anymore." "Then figure it out. Not for me, for yourself. Figure out if you're here because you're called or because you're scared. Because Catherine, life is too short to spend it hiding from who you really are." That night I couldn't sleep. I knelt in the chapel, praying for guidance, for clarity, for God to tell me what to do. But the only voice I heard was my own, finally honest enough to admit the truth. I'd taken vows to escape a world that had hurt me. I'd chosen the convent because it was safe, not because I was called. I'd buried myself in routine and prayer, not from devotion, but from fear. And now, faced with real love, I had to decide whether to stay hidden or step into the terrifying light of being seen. I'd been a coward, and staying would be cowardice again. At dawn, I found Mother Superior in her office. "I need to be released from my vows." She looked at me with understanding rather than surprise. "The soldier?" "Yes, but not just her. Mother, I took vows for the wrong reasons. I came here running from pain rather than running toward God. That's not the same thing as being called." "Catherine, questioning your vows is normal. It doesn't mean you should leave. It's not questioning. It's finally being honest. I don't have a vocation. I have a hiding place I mistook for purpose. And I can't stay here pretending anymore, especially not now. Because you love her. Yes. But more importantly, because I need to figure out who I am when I'm not hiding. Whether that's with her or alone." Mother Superior was quiet for a long moment. Being released from vows is a process. It takes time, paperwork, approval from the diocese. I understand. But I need to start that process. Today. She studied me carefully. "Are you sure, Catherine? Once you walk this path, you can't undo it." "I'm sure. For the first time in 8 years, I'm choosing something out of courage rather than fear. Even if I'm terrified." I found Rachel in the guest quarters, packing her few belongings. She looked up when I entered, surprise and hope warring on her face. I started the process to be released from my vows. I told her without preamble. She went very still. "Catherine, what are you saying?" "I'm saying you were right. I've been hiding here, calling it devotion when really it was fear. I'm saying I need to figure out who I am outside these walls. And I'm saying I love you too, and I want the chance to see if we can build something real together. You're leaving the convent? It's a process. Could take months for official release. But yes, I'm leaving. Not just for you, though I won't pretend you're not part of this. For myself. Because I need to stop being afraid of life. Rachel crossed the room and took my hands. Catherine, I won't let you do this if you're going to regret it. Your faith, your community, you're giving up everything. I'm not giving up faith. I'm just acknowledging that my vocation was never real. And yes, I'm leaving community, but I'm choosing a different kind of belonging. With you, if you'll have me. If I'll have you? She laughed, pulling me closer. Catherine, I've been in love with you since you were changing my bandages and lecturing me about infection prevention. If you're sure about this, I want to build a life with you. I'm sure. Terrified, but sure. She kissed me then, gentle and careful, like handling something precious. It was my first real kiss, and it felt like stepping into light after years in shadow. The process of being released from vows took 4 months. During that time, I lived in a transitional state, no longer fully part of the convent but not yet free. Rachel stayed nearby in town, visiting when permitted, waiting patiently while I untangled myself from the life I'd built. It was harder than I'd expected. Not because I doubted my choice, but because leaving meant acknowledging I'd wasted 8 years hiding. Sister Anne was supportive, understanding. Mother Superior was kind but disappointed. The other sisters ranged from shocked to judgmental. But through it all, Rachel was there, patient, steady, reminding me why I was doing this. Finally, the paperwork was complete. I was released from my vows, free to leave. I packed the few belongings I'd had before entering the convent, dressed in civilian clothes that felt foreign after years in a habit, and walked out of the gates with Rachel beside me. How do you feel? She asked as we drove away. Terrified. Free. Alive. I took her hand. Ready. We moved to Seattle, far from Montana and convent life. Rachel took the medical discharge she'd been considering, using her GI benefits to go back to school for social work. I got a teaching certificate, started working at a public school, discovering I loved teaching children more when I wasn't doing it from behind religious walls. We built a life together slowly, carefully, learning who we were as partners rather than nun and soldier. She taught me about the world I'd hidden from. I taught her about vulnerability and trust. Together we figured out what it meant to build a relationship based on choice rather than necessity. 2 years after leaving the convent, Rachel proposed. We were hiking in the mountains, and she got down on one knee in a meadow filled with wildflowers. Catherine Moore, you left everything you knew to give us a chance. You chose courage over comfort, truth over hiding. I want to spend my life being worthy of that choice. Will you marry me? I said yes, and we were married 3 months later in a small ceremony with friends we made in our new life. No religious elements, just honest promises to each other about building something real. Looking back, I don't regret my time in the convent. It gave me space to heal from childhood trauma, taught me discipline and service, helped me survive a difficult period. But I also understand that survival isn't the same as living. Rachel showed me the difference. She saw through the habit to the person underneath, challenged me to be honest about why I'd hidden, and loved me enough to wait while I found the courage to step into the light. People sometimes ask if I miss religious life. I tell them I miss the simplicity, the routine, the sense of purpose, but I don't miss hiding. I don't miss pretending fear was faith or that isolation was devotion. I made a vow before God that I couldn't keep. But I made a different vow to Rachel that I intend to honor every day. Not a vow of hiding or fear, but a vow of courage, honesty, and love. If you're still watching, thank you for being here. Subscribe if you haven't already, and drop a comment about choosing courage over comfort. Have you ever had to leave something safe to find something real? I'd love to hear your stories. Because sometimes our first vows are made from fear rather than faith. Sometimes courage means admitting we made promises we can't keep. Sometimes the most sacred vow is the one we make to ourselves, to stop hiding and start living. I was a nun who made a vow before God. Then a soldier showed me that hiding in devotion isn't the same as being devoted to truth. Now I'm married to that soldier, and the vow we share is more honest than anything I promised in the convent. A forbiddance vow, they might call it. I call it the first honest promise I ever made.